Yo!
What you eating over there, fat boy?
I had a little teriyaki chicken with fried rice.
Jesus Christ. I'm half in a coma from a pizza and watching a movie.
Pizza.
Yeah.
You're going to turn into Pizza the Hut pretty soon.
Eat
yourself.
If I'm not there already. I already got 2 nice pepperonis growing right under.
That's the content people want to hear.
Oh my
nice pepperonis.
God. Yeah. So yeah, I got real sleepy. I ate a gazillion carbs and then while I was watching Rounders for the probably the 100th time. I get a little nostalgia. You know that movie, right? You've seen that movie.
I have no idea what that is.
Oh, it's a Matt Damon, Ed Norton movie about poker.
No, never seen it.
Never
heard of it.
I get nostalgic because me and Jackie were on a 1-week road trip for wrestling. You know,
right?
We hit a few dates, and then we came back home with Canyon to his apartment in Atlanta for 2 or 3 days, and then back on the road with him. And so while we had downtime, we went and saw that movie. Jackie fell asleep, and it was me, Canyon, and Jackie's friend Jeremy. And so I always remember that movie because I saw it with Canyon in the theaters in Atlanta, which is a weird thing. And then
That's funny.
Then we went to some sports bar. Remember they had the closed circuit TV where you would do the trivia. You'd have the little control thing and you'd answer.
Yeah, right. Yeah. The controllers. Yeah.
Yeah. So we went there because we wanted to play the trivia. Right. And so we were there for 3 hours, and it just happened to be the restaurant in Atlanta. That was one of the ones that Scott Steiner liked to go to a lot. And so on the menu,
it wasn't his Shoney's, was it?
No. This was no. This is way back in the day. And they had a few items, maybe 3 or 4 items on the menu. Right. That were Scott Steiner's favorite dishes, and they had a little, because it's on a menu, it's a line,
right,
with maybe a description underneath, but next to it was a silhouette of a wrestler, a black, because it's small, a little black and white silhouette of a wrestler to let you know,
right,
it was one of Scott Steiner's favorite dishes here.
That's actually pretty funny.
Yeah, that was the same trip. On that trip, I don't remember which leg of it, but at the beginning part of the end part, but was when the Four Horsemen reunion, if you remember, on WCW, and I had gotten a long story, but Jeremy had broken my nose, and it wouldn't stop bleeding. It wouldn't stop bleeding for a day and a half. So I couldn't go to the show that they all went to. Instead, I watched it in the hotel room with my head upside down, hanging off the bed, staring at the TV.
What the fuck?
I distinctly remember, I was bleeding in the back seat of the car, and it just wouldn't stop. And finally, I had to sacrifice one of my socks because I ran out of things to stop the bleeding with, and I didn't want to stop. We were on the road. I didn't want to make an emergency stop for napkins or something. And finally, Canyon's "What happened to your nose?" And I had to explain to him that Jeremy, who was sitting next to me in the back seat, broke it. He had headbutted me, and Canyon gave him this total I'm disappointed in you speech, like a dad would give someone. It was so funny. Yeah, so I came away with that also when we were at Canyon's place. He was he just wanted to dig through all of his old stuff and give us shit. So somewhere I have an old 8x10 from him when he was tagging with Kidman before they even got to the WCW, and they were hockey players. So they were dressed in hockey gear.
That was their gimmick?
Yeah. And I think that's the one, because I see, this is the ironic thing, because eventually Kenyon came out as gay, but Jackie used to razz me every now and then and try and insinuate I was gay, even though I was the only one that ever had a girlfriend during this time period. Well, Jackie had a wife, but that doesn't count. You can be gay and have a wife. I think he told Canyon to sign it to Gay Ben, and he did. So I think my 8x10 says to Gay Ben, best wishes, Chris Canyon. And I think I remember him like asking me, "Are you really gay?" Like, and now all these years later, with him having come out, I'm nervous of how I responded to that. Like, if I was like, "Fuck no," and made him feel bad, I would feel bad now. Or if I had just said no, and then he like, because he never like.
Or he was like, you were like no, and he was like, damn, I thought I had one.
Right. Oh, that little hairy bear there. That's for me.
Little hairy bastard. He looked like an easy mark.
I could take him down and pin him for the 1, 2, 3.
Right.
I'll check his temperature. Yeah. So I don't know which way. I think I was pretty like, I wasn't like, I didn't like insinuate like anything bad about it. So I was like, I was listen, yeah, in that crew of guys that we used to go do autographs with, including Jackie,
right.
You had to have like a good sense of humor about yourself because you're always on the rotation of being ribbed, a lot of times I would regret wearing the, like the elastic waist shorts because someone would come up behind you and yank them down as hard as you can around your ankles, and at the same time yell, "Look at me in the red shirt."
Right.
So everyone would look
and then you're standing there with your pants
with your
down,
red shirt, and God forbid you were freeballing that day or something. You got the whole fucking turkey dinner hanging out down there.
Yeah, no, that was always awful. Those shorts are horrible to wear.
Yeah.
Just for those moments.
Yeah.
Right.
And like you'd forget to just tie the drawstring. Or a good habit would be just always to have one hand gripping your waistband at all times. And people are like, what are you doing? And it's like, you don't.
So at least you can hold the front.
You just don't understand. Like, I got to keep these at waist level. The fear of being pantsed is like strong at all times.
Right. And if they did get you, only the ass would come out because the front would be, you'd be holding on for dear life.
And, yeah. And that you can like recover quickly from.
Or the older trick was if you had pockets in it, you put your hands in your pockets because if they pantsed your hands were in your pockets, it would have stopped. You'd stop it.
Sort of
doing it,
but they're kind of like your hands go in your pockets in the direction where they would just slide out.
No. That's a rookie move.
I don't know.
Like you have to keep your hands at an angle.
I mean, the best bet is just to wear pants with a belt, which I eventually ended up doing. I would
or that right
have like polo shorts with a belt.
Right.
Then the only one trying to yank my pants down was Jensen back in the day.
Well, she still is. Anyway,
not recently. So, I think Bruce cured her of maybe of med for general.
Good Lord. Well, talking about ribs.
Yeah.
It's funny. You made me think of a story.
Oh boy.
Story time.
Uh-oh.
So. You're talking about ribs in wrestling. So for anybody who doesn't know, how would you describe a rib? It's like a joke.
A rib is a practical joke. It's it can come in many forms. Right. But it's mostly hazing.
Right.
But but practical joking, hazing, anything under that category,
But they could be brutal. There could be brutal.
In wrestling? Oh, they were, especially the more quote professional you got, the higher up towards WWE. Once you're in the WWE, they were fucking horrible. They were horrible to each other.
Right. I mean to the point where they were,
shitting in people's bags.
Shitting in people's bags.
I remember. That's probably a famous story of like, I think one night, a couple of guys were supposed to hide under the ring for the whole show because they were going to come out at the end. And I think Kurt Hennig took a giant shit in a bucket and left it under the ring for them to have to, like, basically smell all night.
Right.
Yeah, but a lot of times it unfortunately involved, like, destruction of personal property. Not private, right? Personal property. And those ribs I found, I think, are uncalled for, but they happened. So
right. And so ribs. So ribs they can be pretty bad. Like I would say, I never liked to play them because I didn't want them to happen back to me. Right. So I was I was cautious about what ribs, what ribs I did, because I didn't want to happen to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But so let's take this back to the Vandal days. Me and Eric. You know, we were young, stupid kids, and we were tag team champions, and we thought we were the shit because we were.
Well, plus you ran around with Billy Five, so you could pull shit and get away with it.
Right. Yeah. We kind of felt like we were like invincible at this point, and we were protected, we were invincible, we were the hottest thing. Like, you know, the ladies loved us, all the men wanted to be us, like that kind of thing, you know. Yeah. So we were tag team champions at the time, and we were wrestling a couple times a week. So, you know, we were always on the move, and we were young, and we lived at home still. So, you know, there'd be times where we wouldn't wash our wrestling gear. And, you know, you're on the road 3-4 days, you don't have anywhere to wash it. Sometimes we were sleeping in the car. We didn't have anywhere to wash it.
You never outgrew that, my friend. You could have the excuse of being young, but you never outgrew that. Right, no. So, there was this time period, we started to, you know, we were traveling a lot. We had the belts. Well, a couple times, like, people were like, hey, what's that smell? In the locker room, you know, oh, the Vandals in their smelly gear. So a lot of the veterans, the guys that have been around a while, started getting pissed. Like, these two young punks have no respect. They're not washing their gear. I mean, sometimes it smelled like pure just shit. I mean, it was bad. Hygiene's a big thing when you have to, like, you know, you're like with another person and you're kind of like. Yeah, but we would like take them out of the bag, you know, before the show and spray them down with some like Old Spice or something or Axe. You know, put perfume on a pig. Not even like Febreeze, some odor eating. No, thing. Just mask it with another smell. Right. So we're getting to the Febreeze here in a second. So we were at a show and we had taken out the belts, and it was like we had like a 3 or 4 day stretch, and then we went home. But both of us forgot. Like, this is we forgot. We just got home. We were home for 2 days, and we never cleaned our stuff. Like, we were both exhausted. So when we got in the car for the next trip, I was like, hey, man, I forgot to wash my shit. He's like, yeah, me too. I'm like, man, this is going to be bad. We did a 4-day stretch, super sweaty, you know, wrestled some killer matches. Now we're back on the road with dirty gear. So we get to the building. We open up the bags and the tag team belts. So I have a tag team belt. He has the other one. You take the belts home with you. When we took them out, there was mold on both belts, like green mold growing on these belts. Like, it was, and like we both looked at each other, we're like, oh shit. So the veterans, you know, some of the guys, it was like Casey Thompson and Hack Myers and Dave Johnson, the Blackheart. They saw and they were like, oh, you fucking disrespectful punks. There's mold on the belts. You don't respect anything. You know, they're giving us the business. All tough motherfuckers you named there. Right. These guys are tough. Like Dave Johnson spent time in prison for like aggravated assault, like almost killed somebody. So we were like, you know, getting the business from them. So disrespectful. Our gear smelled. The belts had mold on them. So we're cleaning the belts off before we go out. You know, the show starts. We got to get the mold off the belts. The two of us are cleaning the belts. So the match starts. You know, our match is coming up. We go out there. We do our match. We get back in the back and we go to my bag, and Eric goes to his bag, and the bag is like, pick it up. It's like heavy. And I'm like, what the fuck? I opened the bag. The dickhead veterans poured an entire bottle of Febreeze in both of our bags. Like, the entire bottle, emptied it out in our bags. So our bag is just a puddle of Febreeze. Probably the best thing that happened to your gear in a long time. Well, our gear wasn't in there. It was on us. The bag was. Well, you should. So, okay, right. That makes sense. Right. Yeah. Right. So we were like, what the fuck, you know? And then nobody wanted to say who did it. And obviously we know who did it, right? Like, they were all acting like dickheads. I was so pissed because, like, I had my phone in there, like my wallet, you know, everything is covered in fucking Febreeze. But I was pissed, and they were like trying to act like, you know, they didn't do anything. Oh, I don't know who did it. I was like, and that's the point where I was like, I fucking hate these old wrestlers. Like, they're such shitty human beings, because they really were. They were shitty human beings. I'm like, these motherfuckers. And they're like, oh, it's just a rib. I was like, it's not a rib. Like, you literally ruined my shit because you threw Febreeze in my bag. Like, it was just like everything was floating in the bag. Like, it's full of Febreeze.
and they thought that was a funny rib. Now, what was even funnier is the week after, me and Eric wrestled. It was Hack Myers and Dave Johnson. So I was like, look, we got to get him back, because in that day and age, if you didn't fight back, you were a target. You were a mark.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you didn't fight back, they would just keep fucking with you.
Yeah, they'd lose all respect for you. Yeah.
Right. I was like, we can't let this go, because if we let it go, they'll just keep fucking with us. If we get them back any way possible, they'll know that, like, we're legit.
They'll at least they'll get a little respect back, but also they'll think again before fucking with you.
Right, because back then, if you let those guys fuck with you, they would fuck with you every day, every week.
Yeah.
But if you fought back, they would stop, right? Like they would be like, all right, whatever. You know, these guys they don't want people fighting back, because they were looking for easy targets in March, because that's the kind of guys they were. They were bullies. They were fucking bullies. So I was like, we got to get them back. And he's like, how? I go, look, we can't do anything to their bags or anything like that. I said, we're literally not going to wash our gear again for 2 weeks in a row now. I said, because we're wrestling them. I said, it's going to stink. I said, but when we get in there, at some point, we knew that with them it was going to be a brawl. It wasn't going to be a wrestling match. I said, I'm going to take my knee pad and rub it in one of their faces. We've got to get them back.
That I can listen, from working construction and using knee pads for when you're working on the floor all day or something, or climbing on like rafters. That's the worst smell you will accumulate all day, is that knee pad sweat. The worst.
The knee pads were the worst smell in the entire
Worse
bag.
than like the swamp crotch, anything. The knee pad
100%.
smell is the worst, yeah.
The worst. So we go out there, the match is going to start. We're in Davie Rodeo Arena. And
how many times did you guys work that building?
Oh, I couldn't even. We worked it once a month pretty much for a couple of years.
So like a couple dozen times?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we knew, like, we got to the mat, we get to the show, and they're like, they want to do this brawl, right? We knew they weren't wrestlers, they were brawlers because they were bullies. So we're like, all right, cool. So the match starts, and it's just it's just mayhem. And so we get in there, and we like the opening thing, and I take my knee pad right in Dave Johnson's face, and I just rub it, and he is gagging. It smelled like old mustard. Like, it was like, the smell was so, I was gagging, and I wasn't even touching it. It was just on my knee. He was like gagging. Like, the match is like just starting. And I look over, and Eric couldn't get Hack with his knee pad. I look over, Eric's got the elbow pad, which is just as bad as the knee pad, and he's just smushing it in Hack's face, right? So we're like, we got them. This is great. We got them back. We're laughing, like, we got them. So the match starts, is going, and then we spill out into the crowd. This is where that was a bad idea. So we get out in the crowd, and we're just brawling. And all I know is Dave Johnson picks up a chair and hits me so hard over the head that the chair went. It was a metal chair. Went straight through my head and was just literally wrapped around my neck. I had a lump on the top of my head. And he's like, that's for the knee pad. I was like, oh, like, they're pissed. Like, they were pissed. So, they, like, wrap it. I look over. Eric's getting, like, hit with a kendo stick, like, 200 times. Like, he's getting wrecked. So, we, like, kind of, like, regather ourselves. And I was like, well, we got to fight back. So, we fought back. And, I mean, we were smashing them with chairs, and it was just a disaster. We fought all over the rodeo arena. We get in the back, and I was like, they're like, oh, it's fucked up. And I go, it's a rib. And they both looked at each other and like, you got us back. And we're like, yeah, that was the rib back. And they were like, fucking guys, well played. They're like, you know what? You guys are okay. It immediately showed them. Plus, we hung with them all match. I mean, they beat the shit out of us, but we fought back. And, it showed them. They were like, you know what? They're like, we'll never fuck with you again. They never did. That was it. Because at that point, they moved on to like the next marks who were, who wouldn't fight back.
Yeah, played, but wash your fucking gear, you disgusting.
Oh yeah, they were so mad about the gear though. Dave Johnson was like, I literally was going to throw up in the middle of the ring to start the match. He's like, I was gagging. I was like, oh, I saw. I saw that. But yeah, ribs in wrestling were great, but you couldn't do that. You can't do that now because somebody would probably like cancel you or sue you or something.
I mean, I've done little ones. What was the one I proposed doing to Billy that we didn't do? I already forgot what it was.
I don't know.
I know that I had proposed doing something and I forgot. I remember doing one to Adrian Joker.
Yeah.
This was when Mike was running that pinup show, like convention, and since we weren't having wrestling at it, I just proposed to Mike that we hire a bunch of the boys to do security, for the thing. And he was like, "Yeah, that's not a bad idea." So this pinup show was like, like retro tattoos and 50s music and pinup art and vintage cars and all that kind of shit.
Right.
So it was conventions and there was bands and there was tattoo artists and there were like live shows. There were these burlesque shows upstairs and some of the ballrooms upstairs. And so we did security for one, and it's like, it's like chicks taking most of their clothes off while they play music and in those like old timey clothes and or themed, like you could have like a Star Wars one or something like that. So it was like it didn't have to be like old time stuff, and then you'd have an MC that would do a couple jokes in between or do entertainment. We had I don't know if you've ever seen he's kind of famous now. That Puddles, the singing clown.
Yeah, he's famous.
He did our show. We hung out with him for like 3-4
Right, I remember.
Yeah,
seeing it or something like that.
And they had a couple of really big rock bands there too. But anyway, so we did a couple of securities for the burlesque stuff, and then I don't remember who I told it to, but it might have been Alex or it might have been Marco. But I was like, I'm gonna rib Adrian. I'm going to act like. I don't have enough people to be everywhere, but I need one person to volunteer to do the security for the burlesque show. And I know Adrian will jump at it because it's tits and ass. The rib is it's an all male burlesque show. So,
and he doesn't know this.
Right. So I just said a burlesque, and since we had done a couple of them, he just assumed it was that. And so I was like, oh man, I need people here, but I need somebody to volunteer to do the burlesque show. And Adrian and me was like, I'll do it. And so I'm like, all right. I said, just keep in touch if there's any problems. And so we're just hanging around. I don't even think we really had anything to do. We're just waiting to like hear from him. And we're basically just staring at my phone waiting. And all of a sudden, like about 15 minutes later, this text comes through, "You son of a bitch." And I'm like, son of a bitch. And I'm like, what? And he goes, "It's all dudes." So that's and I was like, what? I think I wrote like, really? Gee, news to me. And then a bunch of like, and then a bunch of LOLs. And everyone's like standing around my phone laughing, watching these texts roll in as we're like fucking with them some more. So, that's the kind of ribs I would pull mostly. I didn't want to like hurt anyone's feelings or wreck anyone's stuff or whatever. But
right.
That was definitely a rib I pulled on Adrian once.
Well, to say back in the day, they were way more vicious with the ribs. Like they weren't. Yeah. They were harsh on purpose.
Mean spirited.
They wanted to see too who was gonna.
Well, you're weeding out the weak.
Stick around.
Yeah. You're trying to see who can. If people can't handle it, then you want them out of the business, I guess. But that doesn't fly these days with everyone taking mental health breaks. Right.
And the cancel culture and all that stuff. Like I just those guys would have never lasted. They would have never lasted now. Like the Dave Johnsons and the Hack Myers and the Casey Thompsons. I mean, Like we'll make this a story episode of those three guys because I got stories about all of them. Now, two of the three have passed away,
which makes it easier to tell stories about them.
Right. But I'll tell you, as much as they fucked with me, they made me tough. They made me like who I was in wrestling. Like, and I've told the story before, but I know we got a lot of new listeners, so I'll tell it again. When I started training, Dave Johnson, the Blackheart, who had the aggravated assault and all this stuff, he was a tough son of a bitch. I used to pull into practice and see his car there. I would drive an hour from Boca Raton to Hollywood, see his car there, and go, I should just turn around and drive home. Like, he was that big of a dick to me in the beginning. I was like, I know if I go in there, he's going to kick my ass. But you know what? I never turned around. I always went in. But I had to talk myself into it.
But explain what kick your ass means. It was a literal ass kicking.
Like, literally, yeah, like he would literally kick, like, I'm not saying, like, well, we all know wrestling, you know, it's staged, whatever, this and that. He would literally kick my ass like it was real. Like, real punches, real kicks. He kicked me so hard one time in my back that, like, I was pissing blood for, like, a week. Yeah. He fucking hurt me. Like, and I never quit. I would go back, and he would always, at practice, he would always go, and this is why I would pull up into his car and go, fuck. He would always pick me to do the match, like his training with. And we would do a match, like, you know, like a mock match, a practice match where for months and months and months, it was the same match. After like the first 3 or 4 times, we didn't even go over it. He would go, let's do it again. Like I already knew what we were going to do because we did the same thing, you know, 4, 5, 6 times in a row, that for the rest of the, you know, 6 months to a year that I was, you know, training, he would just go, let's do the same match. Nothing would change. It would literally be the same match over and over and over and over. And he would fuck me up, like punch me. He used to do, I'll never forget this. This is how ingrained it is in my brain. There was 3 things that he did that I'll never forget. Hit me with a forearm, but hit me so hard, my head would be literally jarred. Like, I would be like, whoop, loopy. The second thing he would do is he would snap marry you, where he, like, grabs your head and, like, flips you over, and you're in a seated position, and then he kicks you in the back. But he would kick you as hard as he could fucking kick you. That's the second thing he would do. The third thing he would do is he would body slam you near the corner, like near the turnbuckle.
Right.
And then his thing was he would go to the second rope on the turnbuckle with his, like, you're laying flat down on your back, looking up at him. His back is to you, and then he would come off and drop an elbow. But every time he'd do it, he would slam me and step on me to get to the turnbuckle. Instead of stepping over me, he would step 250-pound man, full force on my sternum, like, or on my stomach, and then go up and drop the elbow, and the elbow was so real because he tried to hurt me. He wanted me to quit. Well, at some point during all this, I was like, you know, Billy was there, and Billy was like, you got to fight back. And the last time we ever scrimmaged, we got in there, and I just punched Dave right in the face. Like, I fought back. I punched him. I kicked him. Everything he did to me, I did to him. And at the end, like, we got out of the ring, and he goes, I'm done with you. And I'm like, what? He's like, I'm done with you. He's like, you fought back. Like, we're done. I was like, okay. The next practice, I'm ready to go. He's like, no, I'm done with you. He picked somebody else. Like, I passed the test because I didn't quit, and I fought back. And I didn't bitch. I never bitched about it. I bitched to myself, you know, in the car. Like, but I never bitched to him. And I earned his respect, and he never fucked with me, like, after that. Ever, you know?
But you probably kicking yourself realizing you could have done this 3 months earlier.
I didn't know. Like, I didn't know what was going on. Like, I knew he was testing me, but I didn't know the level of what I could do. You know, and Billy was there, and Billy knew. He just, you know, Billy was like that tough love dad. You know, he like.
Oh, Billy's enjoying. He's enjoying watching you, you know, get your ass kicked every time.
But I think if I was gonna quit, Billy wouldn't have let me anyway.
That's when he would have been like, listen, one more time. Go in
stepped
there,
in,
fight
right,
back. Yeah.
right, right. But I think it made me tough. It probably made me, when that next generation of wrestlers came up, like Trevor and Beast and Frank Stone, it made me. I became the dick, and unfortunately, the times were different. So when Dave was a dick to me, I had a set of balls. I was a man. And I was like, oh, I'm going to fucking shut my mouth, take it, and fight back. When I tried it, I got pulled to the side and said, hey, by Rusty, and said, hey, take it easy on them. If you go too hard, they're going to stop paying.
Right.
So it was a different, it was different. It was a different mentality. So I couldn't be the tough guy and teach these young kids because I wasn't allowed, It was the start of that, pussification of America.
Yeah. Or,
shit,
whatever it is, it's like you just
right.
happened to, kind of be right there at shift change and, missed your opportunity to give as good as you got.
Right.
But I mean, but that's, it's, I mean, in a way, in some weird, kind of lame analogy, it's like abuse, if you go in an abuser's past, they were abused, and it's a cycle.
Right.
And so that's where this old school, for all these years, it was like, well, this is how it was done to me, so now I'm going to fucking train guys the way I was trained. And, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's good wrestlers that came out of either way of being trained, where it was all,
right.
It was all,
but I will say,
nice words and handshakes and was I too rough on you today? And then the Dave Johnsons of the world. So,
Right. But I will say, if I was to get involved now in that capacity, I wouldn't be an asshole. Now I do understand. I would rather be a better teacher. They taught me how to be tough and how to not be a little bitch, but I don't believe they taught me how to make it. I could have. I think if I was in this generation, I would be on TV. If I was 21 years old now or 18 years old now wrestling, I would be on TV somewhere, or in developmental somewhere, because I think the teachers now are better. Those guys weren't teachers. They taught me to be tough, but they didn't teach me what to do, to get to the next level. Nobody ever did,
Yeah. Well, there's some other
factors. I mean, we got lucky.
There's some other factors involved now. It's a lot easier to
right.
I think there's more places to work now that pay well.
Right. True.
Maybe not. I mean, back in your day, there was still ECW, WCW, WW, yada yada. But NWA. But it was harder to get seen. Now it's all social medias and YouTubes and I don't think the promotions are just looking for 6'4", 300-pound men. Also,
no, right.
So
right. No.
yeah,
only Vince McMahon.
Yeah, so definitely you would have a much better shot. Marco,
right? And
Marco
we didn't have him. Right, he would have. Right, we didn't have me and Marco. We didn't have anybody to guide us to that. Unfortunately, me and Eric did TNA Impact or whatever in 2003, and I think it was just by pure luck we kind of fell into that just by hanging around in Tampa with Steve Curran and Madison, and we kind of just fell into that dark match where it wasn't even a dark match. It was on the 1 year anniversary of TNA, we wrestled on their Explosion, I think it was called at the time, show. We wrestled R-Truth, Conan, and Road Dogg, and I mean, it was the coolest fucking experience ever. But it was we just fell into it, and I don't even think we knew how important it was. We didn't really take it serious because no one told us to,
Right. So
we were kids, we were young. Fuck, I didn't know. We had no idea. So, but yeah, and then the other story that I feel like I have to tell this is we were in Tampa. So actually, take this back. For those who don't know, FOW, Future of Wrestling, was a really big wrestling company in late 90s, early 2000s. Probably one of the hottest independent wrestling companies in the country. This is before Ring of Honor. Like Ring of Honor had just started. And Bobby Rogers, who's been on the show before, was running this company. And I mean, they were drawing like a lot of people to shows. So he had this idea of doing a big show, King of Carnage. And he's going to bring all these names in. The main event was Dusty Rhodes versus Abdullah the Butcher versus Kevin Sullivan versus Terry Funk. 4 legends. He had lots of other legends on the show that night. And me and Eric worked Joey Matthews and Christian York. We win. We go to fight Big Daddy Gonzo and JJ Kodiak. So, and we win the tag team titles. But that weekend was like a big weekend. The rodeo drew a couple, 5,000 people, was it? I don't even remember.
I don't know.
Big crowd. And then the next night was in Tampa. So Bobby had rented a limo. And we were going to drive from Fort Lauderdale to Tampa the next morning and then literally drive right back after the show. That was the plan. So it was Christian York, Joey Matthews, Mickey James, me, Eric, Bobby, and I think that's it. Oh, Jody X was with us, Bobby's girlfriend. So we get in the limo to leave, and we drive up. It's easy drive. The limo driver drives. We just hang out and shoot the shit and, just shot the shit. On the way back, Hack Myers needs a ride back. Now, Hack was a crazy son of a bitch. I think he was ECW World Champion. Was he ECW World Champion?
Pretty sure World Champion? I don't know.
Like before, when ECW first started.
Maybe.
I think he was.
Maybe.
So, he needs a ride back. So, he comes in the limo with us. Well, they were drinking this GHB, I guess it's called.
Yeah.
They were all taking like capfuls of that. And me and Eric, at that time, we were just stoners. Like, we just sort of just smoke, eat, and go to sleep.
That was like technically what they would call one of the date rape drugs?
Yeah, but I think a lot of bodybuilders took it because it helps your body get a deep sleep or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
So they're all taking it, and we're about an hour into this 4-hour drive back, and Hack is like going, like he's starting to lose his shit. Like whatever the shit is hitting him, he's like becoming a fucking madman maniac. So Bobby's getting nervous because Hack is just like, the limo driver's getting pissed. So he calls Dave Johnson. He's like, "Where are you?" Dave was at a hotel, and we were about 30 minutes from that exit. And he tells Dave Johnson, "This is what's going on." Dave says, "Stop here, drop him off to me. I'll take him home tomorrow." If he's out of control. So we get to this hotel, and we pull in, and the limo driver comes around to open the door, and Hack gets out and gets in the driver's seat. He like tricked the limo driver. Like the limo driver opened the door and Hack like went around the other direction and got in the car. So now we're all out of the limo because this is just bad news. And the limo driver's fucking livid. And Hack is like fucking with him and like he's gonna drive the limo and he's going, he's stopping, he's going, he's stopping. And now it's getting late too, and me and Eric are like, we just wanna go home. Fuck, this is so stupid. We're just pissed off. And he's like locks all the doors. The limo driver can't get in. Now the limo driver wants to call the cops. And next thing you know, he's opened the window where the driver is, and now he's in the back out the sunroof. And finally, Dave Johnson has to come out and physically drag him out of the limo and get him in the room and get him to sleep. And we were able to continue our drive home. The limo driver was fucking livid. The entire next 2.5 hours home. He was just livid. He's like, I will never do this for wrestlers again. It was such a fucking scene. And at the time,
many times, how many places, how many services, how many people over the years have said that? Where I will never. I'm surprised by 2021, anyone is willing to do anything for a wrestler.
Right, it's true. Yeah, right. It's true. It's just over the years, restaurants or, you name it,
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like
For sure,
it's just, yeah,
hotels.
definitely. Right. For sure, for sure. Um, pretty wild. But the driver was just pissed, and me and Eric at the time, we were young and we were like afraid to get in trouble, and all I kept thinking is how the fuck am I going to explain to my dad we all got arrested because Hack Myers was like, stole a limo. Just like this is the things that were going through my head at the time.
Well, at least
Because we tried to stay out of trouble, at least.
I mean, at least if you're arrested for that, it's not something you did. You know what I mean? You were just
right, but we just didn't want to be.
No, I know, but
we didn't want to be involved in it.
So now I got a question, just out of curiosity. Like, what was the payday for that big show for you?
A lot of money.
I mean,
if I remember right, that night we made like that whole weekend because of the Tampa
two shows.
I mean, I want to say we made like $1,000 or something close to that because we also sold merch and but also Bobby had like 95 people on the show. It was ridiculous how many people were on the wrestling show
that booked.
Right, booked on the show, but then to me at the time, again, I was a stupid kid. That was produced for DVD to be sold in stores, and I'll never forget the first time. And I've told this before in here too. I was with my ex-wife. We were dating at the time. We weren't married yet, and we went to the mall. And I said, she said it's going to the store, and I said, I'm going to go in FYE. That's what it's called, right? FYE.
I don't think they're
DVD
around
store
anymore, but yeah.
Right. I said, well, I'm going to go in there and, you go do your thing. So I go in and I go to the wrestling section, and there it is, FOW King of Carnage, the DVD from that night. And I went in there to look for that on purpose because I knew it was going to be sold there. So I go in and there's like some kids at the wrestling section looking too.
Do you own a copy?
I'm on the back of it.
Do you own a copy?
I do own a copy, yes. I'm on the back cover in the midair doing a drop kick to Big Daddy Gonzo, who has a chair, like he was going to have at his head. So I drop kicked the chair into his head from the top rope. Unfortunately, the angle they have the picture, my head is back, so you can't see my face. You only see my neck and my body. You don't see my face because it's like angled back. So I'm in the store and these kids are looking at DVDs and I pick up that one because I think I'm a big shit. And I'm like, look at that. I was like, yeah, that's me on the back. And they're like, no, it's not. I was like, no, that's me. You can't see my face. So they're like, that's not you. I was like, no, that's totally me. Like, that's me right there. They're like, no way. They're like, you can't see your face. It's not you. I was like, they did not believe it was me because you couldn't see my face. But for a solid year,
what a great rib that they use a picture of you without your face in it.
Moving the face, right. But for a year, I would go to that mall, to that store, to that section, pick up that DVD, and anybody who was around, I'd be like, it's a great show. I was on it. Because I thought, like, look, I was a kid, and I thought this was the coolest fucking thing. A DVD of me wrestling was being sold in a major fucking store. So to me, that was the coolest thing ever.
Now, here's the other question. Was that the same DVD every single time? Did no one buy it?
Most likely, yeah.
Because I imagine that they only get like 2 or 3 copies. From what I remember, I used to buy wrestling DVDs at stores, there was usually only be 2 or 3 copies of it, or none, which meant they sold them. I don't think they ever like reordered that stuff. You know what I mean?
No, and there was always the funny part is.
So I think you were always holding the same one. It never sold.
Right, probably not. Right, and I remember the last time I had seen it there, it like got moved to like the clearance section, and it was like $2.99, and I didn't even buy it because I was like, oh, I have a free copy, But I also remember at that time they had like hardcore XPW and like what was it, Pongo the Clown? Was that the guy's name? The hardcore wrestler? I think it was Pongo or something. But I remember seeing like later on Luke Hawks on those DVDs as Altar Boy Luke because they were in the same section as us.
Yeah. If you watch the dark side of wrestling episode, Luke's involved, like kind of interviewed for that. And he said like they took some liberties with him in the ring that eventually he stopped working for them.
Yeah, right. I remember that time, but that time of wrestling was, it was fantastic. Me and Eric lived like rock stars, and we were so dumb we thought we made it. Like we were like, we made it. We're fucking rock stars, not knowing we probably could have made it even way further and been, way better off. But those are good times, though. Good times. So that's my stories for the day.
It's not too late.
It's way too late. I'm fucking 273 pounds.
You could lose like 70 pounds and give it a go. I mean, you're only 40, right?
Pretty soon you're going to be calling me King Kong Slambino, so I'll be doing the 5 count. Oh boy, the splash with the 5 count.
Hey, it's a gimmick we know works. It got a guy over.
Also, I wouldn't have to work that hard.
That's true. Although when you get to that size, your heart's always working hard.
Yeah. Well, crazy stuff. But yeah, so that's my stories for the day.
Yeah, I forgot to do promotion for our stuff, and it's so late in the podcast, it's not even worth it. People just go to the website, buy something. That's all I got. I got no energy to make a full throated
30% off sale right now. Get your Christmas gifts. Get them now. Christmas, Black Friday, 30% off now. We're doing it now. We're not even waiting until Friday.
Yeah, when is Black Friday? Like 2 Fridays.
Next Friday.
Yeah. Oh, wait, Thanksgiving's next week.
Oh yeah, pal.
Oh,
we're moving right along here.
Oh,
yeah. So I will end it with this. I just got. This is a great way to end this. So I just get a random Facebook message from a kid I went to high school with. I have not spoken to this kid since high school, and in high school, I never said 2 words to this kid. His name is Vipul. He was a little Indian kid. And he just sent me the most random Facebook message that said, if you don't buy your Thanksgiving shit now, your Thanksgiving dinner will be McDonald's. No context to this Facebook message at all. That was the Facebook message.
Are you Facebook friends with him?
I am Facebook friends with him, since the inception of Facebook, but I've never spoken to him. We don't speak. I didn't speak to him in high school. That was the message he literally just sent to you as I looked at my phone and read. There's no context to it at all. That was the message.
He either accidentally sent it to somebody else.
Right, the wrong person.
Or he sent it to everybody. Just everybody in his list.
I guess I'm eating food at McDonald's. I don't know what he's talking about.
I can't imagine that's the first time he's going to reach out and talk to you since high school. And it's going to be that.
That text message, that Facebook message. That's really, and I literally just wrote back a laughing emoji. I got nothing back.
Yeah.
So, that was weird. All right. Yeah. So that's all I got today.
That's good. I'm good. You spent your time. You've done your obligation. Our numbers have been on fire. We might break our all-time high even with this holiday coming up.
Good. I like it. I like to hear that.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. We need people to come through for us. Or at least come back for us after Thanksgiving. Don't forget we're here.
Right. Well, maybe people will be so annoyed with their families.
Although, hopefully, we have a lot of British listeners now from your Tiki Talks, and they don't celebrate Thanksgiving, so maybe they'll just keep on listening and downloading.
Right. Maybe it won't even matter.
Speaking of TikTok, maybe you need to. I'm just telling you, you need to step it up. I keep checking in. You're not moving like you used to. You're letting me down here.
I'm at 251.2.
Yeah, I know.
Our last podcast, I just hit 250. So
yeah. Oh, so you made 1,000 in like 2 days?
Yeah.
You used to be banging like 1,000 a day. That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm at 251.2K, so that's
1.1.
Like
yeah, that's 1.1.
Right. Yeah.
In 2 days.
So
in 2 days.
Well, listen,
that's 600 a day. You used to do over 1,000. I'm just saying. I think you need to change it up a little. I'm just saying, I think you're a little boring now. I think it's the same sitting, kind of like unwrapping something, eating it. There's no like gimmick to it at all. There's no show.
I'm getting 40. I'm averaging 50,000 views here, pal.
Zero showmanship at all. Like no. Listen.
I'm one of my clown. You want me to dance?
Yeah. Or maybe you need to we need to come up with a catchphrase, people. And the best catchphrase. Let's have a contest. Whoever come up with the best catchphrase from using his TikToks, will you agree to try and sneak it in for a few and see if it gets over?
I will.
Okay. I think that's what we need to do. So there's a contest here at the end of the episode where no one's listening. Come up with a catchphrase and send them to. I don't know if Anthony can be trusted can we trust you if they also send them to you to share them all?
Of course.
Or just message us on one of the Breakfast Club official social medias, either Facebook, Twitter, or TikTok, or Instagram, and just send in your ideas. But make an effort. Don't just steal like something from a commercial. Yeah, let's try and sneak something in and see how it goes. I think.
All right, and people, you listen. If anybody else is listening still here at the 50-minute mark, it's a great time for the holidays that you can get a cameo from me. I will gladly do a cameo video for the low price of $10, where I will send a message to your loved ones, wishing them a very happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it is. I'm the guy. Birthdays. You want me to put your product over? I'm not even charging that much.
Quinceañera.
Right. I'm here for you. I did one already. My first cameo was a lovely lady sent her boyfriend a cameo where I told him he was going to London to get his PS5 for his 30th birthday, and I was wishing him a happy birthday and that I would eat some chocolate with him. Somebody paid for that already.
Anthony will do a 60
to
90.
Support the cause.
Anthony will do a 60 to 90-second roast of you or your friend.
I'll do whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
Whatever you need, I'm the guy.
This is where he'll put on the clown makeup and be the clown. For the low price of $11?
$10, $10, $11.
Yeah,
that's it.
All right.
I don't even charge that much. I'm cheap.
Yeah. Well, we know you're cheap. You're also inexpensive.
Yeah, both. All right, that's it. I gotta go. We're creeping into the 9:40.
Can I just throw one into the ring here?
Yeah.
I'm going to suggest that for 3 or 4 TikTok, 5 TikToks, you have to after you eat after you taste the candy, you have to go, that's the one, a spicy meatball.
What? Why would I do that?
Because it's funny. Let's just see
funny.
Let's just see what happens. Fuck it. It's 5 TikToks. Who cares? It would be funny.
You sparked an idea.
Good.
You sparked an idea. All right.
Someone needs to do the thinking.
That's all I got.
Here. Might as well be the smart one.
Right.
All right, fat one. I'll talk to you later.
I'm done with you.
Bye.
Hey, goodbye.